This broadcast is copyrighted 2007 by the Team Sportscast Network. Any copying, reproduction, redistribution, or modification in any manner is expressly prohibited without the written permission of the Team Sportscast Network, LLC. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tales of Heroes. This is the video replay review section of the show. So if you've come for some entertaining commentary and gameplay, well, you've come to the right place. We've got a new one here on Bo Lowlands, and it's going to be good between Nuvion and Mexico. Mexico on the Allied side, Nuvion on the Axis side. So let us see how it goes here. As always, I am Bridger from the Team Sportscast Network. And joining me today, my rectangular co-host, Vittensby. Welcome to the program.
I liked effervescent better, but I'll deal with rectangular this time. Bo Lowlands is a pretty interesting map. As we all know, it came out at 1.5, and I think some of the original strategies that players thought were the best when we first started looking at the map kind of changed over time, and we'll see how these two fine players, Nuvion and Mexico. Nuvion's playing Axis, and Mexico's playing, I think, what he does best, although he's been fooling around with Axis recently. He's on the Ally side, and we'll see how they adapt to these new tactics and strategies that have came out of 1.5 in general, and then how they were adapted to the Bo Lowlands map. And I guess we can talk about all that as it unfolds.
Absolutely. Very briefly, we have the middle of the map being highly contested in this particular map. The plus 16 munitions point can really allow you to have a lot of mobility on which side you want to go to if you hold that middle area. It also obviously gives you plus 16 munitions. It's quite powerful. You have the collection of plus 10 fuel and munitions in the top right and bottom left corner, which are both going to be very highly contested over. Usually this map splits up into one side capturing one half of the map and the other side capturing the other half, and then you see a lot of back and forth as to which side, do they want to stay on the defensive, do they want to attack. Let's find out how this one unfolds at the 5-second mark. We will get us going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we go. And so I also wanted to mention, while they're building their first couple buildings, that the bandwidth for this broadcast is brought to you by typefrag.com. They can provide you with the greatest Ventrilo hosting on the planet. Check them out at www.typefrag.com if you're in need of a voice chat server called Ventrilo. So also brought to you by Insomnia365.com, your premier source for dedicated game server hosting. These guys give you a box and a connection that is all yours. You don't have to share it with anybody else, and it's completely yours to do whatever you want with. You want to play some Battlefield 2 tonight, some Return to Castle Wolfenstein in 3 hours, and then maybe later you want to play some Counter-Strike. Change it however you want using the Cortex control panel at Insomnia365.com. So let's get on, see what's going on in the game here. In the first couple of seconds, we had a barracks opening with riflemen and a 2-engineer start on Mexico's side. It looks like he's going to be trying to grab the middle and then wire it off. It's interesting he's not wiring it off first, do you think? Usually go for like a wiring off the bridge area or something like that?
Yeah, usually you would wire off either the bridge or the little, from the wood fence to where the trees are, just to the left of it. I'm surprised that neither player sent their first engineer pioneer out to the center. That's kind of the new thing that's been going on now, and obviously that favors allies slightly because engineers tend to beat pioneers somewhere around 9 out of 10 times. But Nuvion's got his own little plan in the works. So you can see he built some sandbags by the plus 10 point, which is kind of an interesting opening. Haven't really seen that before on this map. We also have MG first. It is pretty popular to go 3 engineers, so I'm a little surprised that Mexico is playing it with 2, but now you can see he is wiring off in the pretty standard position that people tend to wire off, although the player in the north tends to do that strategy, whereas the player in the south tends to wire off the bridge. But either way, it's a rather unconventional start, I think, from both players. But we'll see how it plays out.
Uh-oh, we found a machine gun team inside of that building. Now, let's see. Does that building have any blind spots? I do not think it does. It's just the problem with little shacks like this is that a grenade will probably almost always kill everybody inside of it, right? Because it's so small, you know, the grenade just manages to do massive amounts of damage, whereas in a large building, grenades do less damage to the units inside it or have a lower chance of eliminating everybody. The other thing is about those small wooden shacks. I think it seems to me like they provide even less than heavy cover sometimes, just because, you know, when you're in heavy cover, you're behind sandbags or rocks or something to that effect, or something metal. And it just seems that units in those small wooden buildings die like paper. It's not even close to building cover as you'd think of it on, like, Samoa.
Right. Wooden structures, especially those little shacks, don't really provide any real benefit. Well, they do a little bit, but Nuvion lost one of his first pioneers trying to cap the +10 fuel on the far left. That's a bad turn of events, but he was able to barbed wire off the VP. It's a pretty barbed wire friendly map. I mean, I was playing against I think Tokyo or Tokyo Dog. I think that's the same player, and he knew all the little wire spots. I mean, I could probably write an essay about how many different good spots there are to wire on this map. There's some interesting gameplay going on so far. You can see Nuvion's wiring in preparation for taking the +16 point back from Mexico in the center. That's also a viable way of wiring your opponent in the south away from that point.
Now, this might not necessarily have been a great thing. I've seen people use this building, and always the people on the outside manage to, you know, succeed. Because, I mean, this building's got, looks like, 3 ways you can shoot out of it in this case. So the Volks are only hitting their opponents with 3 shots, 3 potential shots. Oh, there we go. Flamethrower, toasted. Wow. Good night. That building's gone. And he loses it almost instantaneously. Those wood buildings just cook units inside them. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, Nuvion's definitely not playing quite as well as I think he could in the opening.
Yeah.
That building is kind of a death trap, especially once grenades are upgraded for riflemen.
Oh, wow. That rifle actually got very lucky. Missed getting pinned on the first burst there from the MG42. I'm sorry to cut you off. That's just, you know, pretty rare.
Yeah. Yeah, that building next to the base is usually considered a death trap, unless you have, say, MP40 Volks or something around there to kill the charging in riflemen, and maybe an MG in the building and another MG to prevent the flank. It's a pretty dangerous situation to get involved in. We do have some mines going off, good placement from Mexico just on the river crossing, and then also Nuvion's teched up to Tier 2 so he can take back the munitions point in the center. That munitions point is really key on this map, maybe a little bit more key than I would like it to be. Not quite as crazy as the fuel on rails and metal, although some people love to argue with me about that. I think that it really requires, you can see it connects you to so much of the map that it's just a great point to have for that reason. And of course, +16 munitions for Axis is, you know, great for the Blitz Compcraft Center strategy. You pretty much have a lot of early munitions for MP40 Volks, and then of course your stormtroopers can get Shreks a lot easier.
Basically, any Axis strategy. I mean, so many of their doctrinal powers rely on heavy munitions. I mean, registered artillery is sort of useless unless you have a good couple high munitions points, or at least one of them, you know, that's OP'd, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get it to go off enough to make it really worthwhile. Oh no, very nice maneuver here. The machine gun was actually pointed up in this direction a while ago because they knew there were riflemen back there. Now the riflemen charge out of the building when the machine gun is repositioned, and it looks like they're going to get the kill here. Booyah! Hit the retreat button on those riflemen. The other ones can come in and help out, but it looks like they're going to both go back. Killed an entire MG42 squad. It's probably going to be remanned by that Volks, but that means a lot of walking. If you reman that and retreat all those Volks all the way back. It looks like that's what he's going to do. He'd rather have the 2 machine guns, which in this case, since he's locking down the right, is probably a good thing.
I tend to like to OP that +16 munition in the center as allies, not so much as Axis, because riflemen really chew through OPs, even without the bar upgrade, pretty fast. So, but Volks don't tend to do quite as good of a job as riflemen. Of course, you have the flame threat on that, but it tends to work out pretty fine, as long as you have a wire, of course, protecting as just the first barrier to delay them a little bit more. This map is really munitions heavy. There's not quite as much fuel as I mean, there's no plus 16 point like there is in Angeville, so there's not one point where you can just hold off and say, oh yeah, I got all the fuel I need. But you can see that Mexico chose to observation post the plus 10 fuel in the left-hand pocket in the bottom. So he's probably going for a fast tech strategy. And now that I look at his base, he already has a tank depot.
Wow, that's really early.
Yeah, at the 8-minute mark. But you can do that on Bo Lowlands because, I mean, it's not like Angeville where you have strat points that are like, oh my god, I got to keep my strat points so I can't tech.
He's had the plus 10, both the plus 10s on the bottom for quite a while. And this is a very common thing to do and something you got to watch out for. It's very tricky. You place a mine somewhere you know somebody's going to come, and then you start attacking a point. So when they come to respond, they run over the mine, and you've got a huge advantage over them, especially with flame engineers. In this case, unfortunately, one of his guys is standing right next to it, so he might take some damage from that. In fact, he might even lose that one guy. But in many cases, that's very useful. For example, on Stursdorf or Angeville, at those strat points that are key, that lock down, the fuel or mostly the fuel on Angeville, or everything on Angeville, actually, the fuel on Stursdorf, before you go to attack that, you plant down a mine their reinforcements are going to come from, and then you go and you attack it, and as soon as they, you'll be able to take it down to neutral, then you just hit the retreat button and wait for them to run over the mine, or if you have enough firepower, you wait for them to run over the mine, and then you try and finish them off.
Yeah, because Bo Lowlands isn't that aggressive of a map sometimes, and it tends to be kind of campy, as we all kind of know.
I heard a mine going off somewhere. I think that was the bridge. Yep. Looks over here.
Nuvion is doing kind of what I like to do, which is get an early Krieg barracks and get up an AT gun just to counter. Because if you have that thing cloaked and they bring any motor pool unit, including a really fast quad, just one or two hits, I mean, pretty much it's going to be gone. It's really bad that Nuvion ran over that mine because his Grenadier squad's already at pretty much half health.
And it looks like Mexico realized now that he has Grenadiers.
Yeah, so he sees Tier 2. I'm sure he's going to be upgrading bars, and we might see a Croc. I can't see how much fuel he has, but a Croc would definitely be a
he's
good
building
choice.
a Croc right now. Absolutely.
Yep. And you'll notice where the riflemen are coming in from the flank. That's also a really good way for Axis to get out of their base if allies have some kind of lock, in like the center where the road is and the stone wall. You can always go around the other way. It's a little risky, obviously, doing it from the south, but that's a nice way for Axis to get out of their base, or anyone that starts out in the north. It's just an alternate path that I don't think a lot of people really know. This is actually a map that I, every once in a while, decide to build an MG emplacement as allies, just to forego the 25 fuel, just to better solidify my position, not have to keep a squad around there. It's pretty devastating, unless they have, Tier 3, which they're not going to have. And then the AT gun just ran over the mine, but I can't
you're
believe
kidding me?
that it took like barely any damage from
Interesting. Anyway, so you see, as you mentioned, how important that plus 16 fuel is, because otherwise he would be completely cut off from the resources at the left-hand side of the map at this point. The strategic point, very easy to take, and cuts off this whole left side unless you have that center. So that's another example of why it's so important. So we'll see if the Croc is going to do a bunch of damage here, or where he's going to go.
It's too bad Mexico noticed Tier 2, because just having that AT gun out and keeping your Grenadiers back a little bit can really put the hurt on a quick motor pool or a Croc. And yeah, he's shitting bricks right
too.
now. Yeah, but that's Bo Lowlands for you.
Yeah,
just fast tech. It's really powerful. It just lost the whole squad, and with the MP40s on it, it's pretty brutal. And combine that with bars, and wow. That's going to be really hard. Actually,
wow, I didn't even notice he lost his AT gun there.
Yeah.
And is being remanned. That's got to hurt. Especially since his opponent doesn't have he's got command points, so he could go airborne if he wants, but he doesn't have a motor pool. So, grabbing that AT gun is giving him a huge advantage. That's basically the equivalent of having the rifleman kill an MG and take it early in the game, so they don't have to build a weapon support center to hold a position. And maybe Viddensby's disappeared?
Vin's here.
Okay.
I'm just listening to you. Yeah, we have a Sturm Armory going up, which is Croc is just pudding on the top. I like that. Oh man, and the Croc just ran over a mine, so it's gonna be out of action till there's an NG squad that can get over there, which I don't see one on the field right now. Oh, it just retreated on the right with just a sliver of health left. Yeah, last thing you want is a Croc to run rampant around Bow Lowlands, just killing all your infantry. It really gets its money's worth quite easily. Just that one squad of Volks with MP40s. I mean, that was the manpower back pretty much right there. So now he's just got to figure out how to get his fuel investment back, I guess. But yeah, BARs are pretty strong on this map in general, just because you have the left side, you have the far left, far right, and then bars can suppress. So if you retreat, it takes quite a while to get back to the action.
Yeah.
Plus, you can still pin multiple squads. So you really need to rely on your MGs early on to counter the riflemen and solidify your position before the bars come to basically just take you out of your infantry out of the game.
Mexico says if anything goes wrong, just choose airborne. Yeah, well, that's probably true. Interesting that Nuvion never captured the munitions point in the top corner of the map. I guess he might have been on the way there, and he just, unless my thing's bugged out.
No, it's only a +5 point. I mean, it's not hugely key, but the fact that he hasn't captured that, and it would more than likely not really ever be harassed, that's a big problem. That's probably at least maybe 50 munitions right there that he could have had. We do have a Comcraft Center up with level 1 veterancy on the tanks. And we do have a Stug out.
AT gun laying in wait. He's got to tell it to fire. There it is. First shot misses. Oh no, that would have been the power shot.
That would have been nice.
But the Stug does manage to scare that quite well. There's the next shot from the AT. Wow, really puts the hurt on that Croc. He's lucky he got that out in time. If the Stug had just been up there, 10 seconds earlier. Oh, okay. I was going to say, did that Croc just get, insta-healed? No. That's the Sherman. The Croc is still very damaged. So, here the Stug is fighting off against the Sherman. He might want to bring up that AT gun. It looks like he is. And he's got, yes, the AT gun and the Stug are going to be able to take that out fairly easily, even with the engineers repairing it. This is a losing battle for that Sherman.
Yeah, one thing is, Allies definitely do not expect Tier 3, so I don't think Mexico had sticky bombs upgraded at all.
And was one of those rifles?
So that is one thing that's different. And there comes the sticky, but that was a nice trade for that Sherman, definitely. Oh my god, I think that AT gun is going to take out his own.
Yeah, he's going to be like, AT gun, stop shooting, move! Oh wow, the AT gun just killed 2 infantry.
I think they just ran into the front of the
they might have while I was backing up. Oh, they did.
Don't repair it.
Oh no, don't repair it. The 5% bug will save you.
And it still did.
And it still did. I think you're 2 seconds ahead of me. Oh man, that was pretty impressive there. That basically allowed Nuvion to make up for all the problems that he had early, losing the Pioneer, losing those the MP40 Volks earlier to the Croc. That really hurt Mexico. I mean, he lost his Sherman early in the game and wasn't able to get anything back for it.
Right. We had Nystrom last time, actually, when he played against Aniquetos. He kind of did the fast tank depot strategy, but wasn't quite able to use it to full effect. So we'll see how this fast tank depot strategy works in the hands of Mexico, who, of course, both of them were competing for Season 1 for the top Allies spot. So we'll see how maybe the best 2 Allied players in the game, at least at a patch, before the first stats wipe, can use kind of a similar strategy.
All right, now we've got 2 Stugs out here. Actually, was one of those Stugs, were the Stugs single veterancy, right? They had 1 veterancy on them last time I saw. Yeah, there they are. I can see them again. I just can't see it when they're in the fog of war, even with the cheat mod. So we do have 1, that single bit of veterancy helps a lot early in the game when they're fighting off, just non-up gun Shermans and sticky bombs. That extra bit of damage reduction can really help. So we'll see if it does in this case.
Losing ground out there.
Yes, Mexico, I completely agree. You should have backed off. I mean, he was fighting a Stug head on and the Stug had AT gun support, so that was a bad move, and I'm sure he realizes that. More sticky bombs going off.
Very good use of machine gun too.
Good, yeah, definitely good use of machine gun. I'm not sure what he's trying to accomplish with that, considering he kind of knows that was just freshly repaired. I don't know, maybe take it out of combat for a little bit. I like the tier 2 to 3 strat. That was something that was used a while back if you didn't want to go blitz, but I think Nuvion just chose his company commander, but I don't see anything. He might have went defensive of all things. But no, then he'd have 4 the fatherland up. I'm not quite sure what doctrine he just chose. He had 4 command points, and now he only has 1. So
that's odd.
Yeah, I would think
what
terror.
Possible?
But
it must be terror. No, because terror you get propaganda if you went down the right side, and you get firestorm if you go down the left. I don't know any tree that has 2 passives in a row, or even 2 passives on the front.
It might be zeal and then inspired assault.
Inspired assault would show up though.
Yeah, so I don't know. We're noobs right now.
I guess
so. Anyways, we have a bunker going up in the center, which is interesting position of it. I wouldn't have thought of to put it in that little pocket, but I'm not sure that he angled it quite the best way that he could, because you can see, well, you can't see the arc of fire, but basically the arc of fire is 50% in the bush, is where no one can even walk anyway, so maybe not the best angle, but definitely an interesting positioning of it.
And there it is. We'll see if he upgrades that. We've got an AT gun watching the right side here, along with a machine gun. So that's a great position here. This machine gun's going to stop anything that tries to come along here that's infantry that might take out that AT gun. And the AT gun's certainly going to put the hurt on any armor that goes down that way. But, if you bring a Sherman... Oh, it was defensive.
Yeah, my initial thought.
I wonder how
I think he went right. He went right side.
The right side of defensive.
Yeah,
I gotcha. That makes sense to me now. He's got the increased sight. I love how those telephone poles slowly fall over when you hit the base of them. So look at all these tanks, though. We got the Croc, we've got a Sherman, and we've got an M10. Pretty nice distribution of forces here. Double vet on the Stugs now.
You can't see it, but there's, or maybe you can, but he upgraded that bunker to a repair station, which is really, really, really good, good tactic at this point in the game.
Yeah, that's a great place to start at.
With level 2 veterancy, and I think this map is actually a decent map for tier 3 because it's a lot of choke points, and it's hard for Shermans and M10s to flank around. As you can see, Mexico's having tons of problems trying to flank that Stug right there.
And he might be able to get the M10 before the Stug goes down, or you might even be able to save the Stug. The M10's going to try and get the hell out of Dodge, but I bet we got another sticky coming here in a half a second. He's certainly got plenty of munitions for it. Oh no, the Stug lost the gun, or it probably would have been able to kill that M10 one more time.
Yeah, I don't think we really needed a sticky bomb there, but...
Well, I don't think he saw the gun was killed, because I think if that gun hadn't died, the M10 probably would have been killed before it got that last shot off.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go. Long range Shreks 5% bug on the M10, but it's got no turret, so we're going to lose that here in a second. It's got no engine, no turret, so let's see if... Oh no, there goes the M10. So we've traded an M10 for a Stug, fairly even trade, I should think. But the Allies are managing to take, Mexico is managing to take points here that his opponent used to hold, so...
That was a really poor assault by Nuvion in general.
Yeah, oh wow, look at these... Rifleman got way up behind his Stug, now he's in trouble. He lost the top gunner too.
I think he's trying to play it aggressively, and he really can't play it aggressively, and unfortunately Mexico was just willing to just sit there, and of course Nuvion tried to assault, and that just was not the best way, I think, to go about it, because he chose defensive, and he couldn't use For the Fatherland unless he's in his own territory, so yeah, that's kind of a problem.
Nuvion says, yeah, airborne GG, but we haven't even seen a doctrine or a company pick. Mexico goes, I haven't gone airborne yet. You can't blame it on airborne. Here's the registered artillery. Very nice. See if it's going to manage to kill that squad. Oh, look at the devastation. He hit the retreat button the instant that thing came down, and he still lost a lot of the squad. So that's the fear of registered artillery. Mexico says, that AT gun that I had was yours. You left it there. Now Nuvion goes, oh, right, okay. I guess I can't blame it on that. Uh-oh.
And now that Mexico's being aggressive, he's pretty much going to lose that Sherman.
Yeah, it might get out of there.
I don't think he's going to be able... No, there's another... Isn't...
Oh,
or he moved
no,
his
that's
AT.
the AT gun that got moved. But here comes the last Stug
Come
shot,
on.
potentially. Miss! Oh, no!
Oh, that was definitely 5% right there.
Oh, but it's in the water. Never mind. It's gone. There it is.
There we go.
Nuvion thought he got it, that the enemy got away. Then oh yeah, the water slows him down. Uh-oh. Is the Stug gonna get back in time? Get that gunner moving. Weird angle, though.
I think with all the AT that he has, maybe not go quite so heavy on the tanks, maybe get a Puma or something and use it kind of defensively, like in a situation like this. Like Puma would have been an excellent choice to just fast respond and go there. But I think his plan was to not go Pumas, because obviously the Pumas have some issues in this patch, and just get the upgraded veterancy on his Stug so that the gunner can take over. And the gunner does a pretty good job.
Yeah. He actually basically wiped out that last, rifleman squad that did the original sticky. Mexico does have a lot of manpower. Holy crap. I don't know if he's just,
Check
showing
his
off or
population.
what.
No,
He's at 23 of 60.
Really?
I don't know.
He just lost a bunch of stuff, but...
He's building a Sherman now, but I don't know why he's not just building more riflemen or something, since he can. I think they're both just kind of going, well, how am I going to start getting points? Because right now we're locked at 398 and 439. 398 is...
Nuvion is 398.
Okay, you're on the side that stays,
yeah,
so I get
haven't,
confused.
Yeah, the freaking bugs. But still, he did not cap that +5 point, and that's a lot of munitions gone.
Oh, yeah.
At least probably 100 by now. That's a registered artillery right there.
Yeah, he needs to go up and grab that, just because this, if the game lasts longer, that's really important to have.
Since he went defensive, I mean, just plop down an 88 somewhere. I mean, that's pretty much all you're going to need. Back that up with MGs and Stugs. But the problem is I don't know if defensive is necessarily just the best choice, because, well, it's defense doctrine, right? So it's about defenses. I don't know if terror would have been better with a little bit of firestorm here and there, just to clear out whatever, or force a retreat or force whatever. Go with Zeal, so your tier 2 has a little bit added bonus, and wait for a Tiger Ace, which can soak up quite a bit of damage. Not quite sure, but it sure seems like that both of them, it's this typical like Bo Lowland standoff.
Yeah. Waiting for somebody to get a supreme advantage here. We are seeing more Shermans. We're getting quite a few Shermans now. We got 1 out here, 2 out here, and we're building a 3rd right now. And that might have been why he was floating so much manpower, because he was just getting the fuel. And he might also be floating manpower because if he really needs it, he's going to go airborne and start dropping ATs, wherever he needs it. So that's another reason that you might see someone, and that term floating manpower is basically means you have manpower or, have any resources that aren't being spent. Because resources that are sitting in your stockpile aren't resources that are on the field, doing jobs for you, killing the enemy, what have you. So it's usually a bad thing in RTS games to float resources because they're just sitting there in your stockpile, not doing anything for you. They could be riflemen that are over there flanking the enemy. Meanwhile, they're sitting in your stockpile. In the case of the airborne, it's different because having the resources there to just rapidly deploy an AT whenever you want it on the field instantaneously is pretty much godlike. I heard
Look
an
at that
interesting...
Stug in the middle. He's trying to... Sorry to interrupt you, but he was just trying to maneuver it through the bushes on the bottom. I thought that was funny.
Oh, down the little path here?
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Well, actually, I heard an interesting thing somebody said about because a lot of people find the airdropped AT to just be such a powerful ability to have. It basically, you know, a lot of people say, you know, if you have a couple of tanks and you get, you know, fighting against, you know, regular Axis armor, and then you can just drop two ATs, you know, just like that, and hit the armor-piercing button, then it's, you know, almost GG Axis armor. So a lot of people feel that's the case. What would you think if maybe they made the time for the AT to come down, or the time for it to undeploy, just a little bit longer?
I don't know.
Do you
We'll
feel
have to
that's
see
warranted?
what they do. We'll have to see what they do in 1.6. I'm sure there's going to be some changes to some of the concerns that the community has.
Wow. That Stug really wiped the floor with that Sherman quite quickly. That's one of the reasons you don't send an unsupported Sherman. If there had been a sticky in there to help out earlier, it really would have made a difference, especially a double vet Stug, because that first level of veterancy gives you 15% damage reduction on any penetrating shot, so it's going to take a lot less damage. It used to be able to kill a Sherman from the front anyway, but again, there's not much room to maneuver, especially if that Stug backs up to the bridge. Is that... Yeah, the gunner's still alive on that, surprisingly. Sometimes they last a long time.
I'm just surprised that there was no Flammenwerfer half-track upgrade. That would have been a great investment. Or even a Stuka, go up to Tier 4. I mean, Nuvion got a sniper, which is really smart, and he could potentially break through here. It looks like he's got enough forces to make a push, but if Mexico still has all that manpower to just call on right now, it seems like he does.
Actually. He's only at about 350. So he can still drop one AT.
I think he can drop an AT, plus I think he's building something out of his tank depot. I can see that, and another squad of rifles.
No, that's an upgun. Upgun Sherman. He's not building anything.
Sherman. Nice.
So we'll see. I mean, he's got now a decent position on the left. And how much munitions does Nuvion have?
He has 260. He really needs to cap that plus 10 munitions point just to the left of where his forces are, and that way he can activate for the fatherland, which would be pretty much exactly what he needs against bars. The problem is Nuvion has his forces split half and half, whereas the allied player in the south, Mexico, has all of his forces in one location. So what Nuvion's doing is he realizes this, and he's building an 88 on the right. I don't know if you can see that, right by the river, by the plus 10 munitions. Not exactly the best choice against airborne, since they can just drop in and satchel.
Yeah,
but
and you might have heard it, but there's airborne on the incoming right now. He's just chosen his company. He's dropping the supply drops and the
AT gun.
AT gun.
Yeah.
And that's just real deadly because of that, you know, I mean, the airborne AT isn't that bad, you know, but as soon as you hit that armor-piercing button, it's just like, wow, it destroys tanks. I mean, it basically hits about as hard as a Tiger or an 88 when you hit that armor-piercing button.
I wonder if a well-placed rocket artillery could be what Nuvion needs right now. I think potentially going the left side, continuing on and investing 3 points in an 88 might not have been the best choice, especially going up against airborne. But maybe he's planning on 88 sieging Mexico's base, although I think it might be a little bit far out of range for that.
Wow.
I'm sure it has the range, but I don't know if it can destroy, say, like the tank depot. Not quite sure.
That Sherman was in trouble. Actually, we have a mortar on the Allied side. They're taking advantage of that airdrop. Supply drops, rather, and they've got a mortar, putting it really far forward. I don't know where the hell he's sending this thing. Okay, there you go. He's moved it a little bit in a better direction. I was going to say, you don't want the mortar on the front line. That should be in the back, but, so we'll see. Oh, wow. We've got, here's an interesting strategy. I didn't think about this. That 88 can probably hit the HQ. Or something in the base. Yes, it's shooting the HQ. The Stug is providing the view, and it's shooting the HQ. That is an interesting strategy. That would shut down the entire airborne operation if you take out the HQ.
Yep.
And now he's pulled his enemy into it.
On that MG. And if it gets a nice position going, this could turn around. But if he loses that 88, he's in a world of trouble. And if he has grenades or even gets a good
look at all this.
Here.
There, goodbye, Sherman.
Shermans.
Oh no, 5% bug again. That makes me so mad. Oh, the Fleming tank and goodbye 88. It's about, there it is.
Yeah.
That was basically the Croc just barely made it there, but
An AT gun right behind that on the other side of the river would have been just a trick of what he needed.
Yeah.
Now he's using looks like rocket artillery to try to do something.
Registered right along that.
Registered, yeah. It's landing in all the wrong places, though.
Yeah, oh no, it landed on the north and the right instead of the south.
Almost got the croc.
Oh, he did kill the 88, though. They had remanned the 88. The registered artillery got that.
He was so close to getting rid of that HQ. I mean, how much health does it have? I can't see, but it must be
it's a little bit under half. He definitely could have taken it out if his opponent was a little bit less speedy on the... Oh, no. AT! What was he thinking with that Stug? He just drove it. I think he was trying to drive it in the enemy base to get a line of sight. But he doesn't need it, I don't think, because he's firing at that barracks now with the AT gun. As we always said, Bo Lowlands is, annihilation light. It comes with victory points, but it doesn't mean you have to use them.
Yep. Or even getting an 88. Well, he can't do it because he never capped that plus 10. That's what he really needs. He really needed to cap that plus 10 munitions points he could use for the fatherland. Maybe drop down a bunker to reinforce or get strafing around. Jesus.
That's... I honestly think strafing run is too powerful at this point. Once people learn how to use it, it takes out a squad every single time. Almost every time. I think 70% of the time you lose the whole squad, and the rest of the 30% maybe you have one guy left.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if building that
one more
is
shot
good.
At the barracks. There it is. Nice job knocking out that barracks. Basically now if he wipes out some rifle squads, that's going to be tough if we see the retreat
they just
used.
picked up the Panzerschreck from the airborne, so... Yeah, Nuvion just split up his forces, I think, a little bit too much, and he's still trying to get rid of that 88 on the right. It's just it's just not happening.
Did he drop more registered on it?
More registered on that point. Yep.
Yikes!
It's really unfortunate that didn't work out. At least take down the HQ, because if he wouldn't have had an engineer up, he would not have been able to repair it, and just the severe manpower deficiency he would have got from that. Would have caused a lot of trouble. Plus, he wouldn't have been able to drop AT guns or supply drops and none of that stuff. So, in theory, maybe if he would have held back a little bit, I mean, obviously we saw Mexico respond to it. He was like, "Oh my God, there's an 88 there," right? He totally had no idea.
Yeah.
So I think that. Good plan. Yeah, maybe a bunker and another like an AT behind there. Or something, I don't know, but I think that could have potentially worked. It just wasn't 100% where it should be. And I'm not even sure what that 88 is doing right now.
It's shooting the ground. I don't understand. There's nothing up there.
I think he's just attack grounding for whatever reason.
Registered. Gonna get those riflemen. Maybe go south. Oh, wow, body parts flying everywhere. The river is choked with blood. Maybe a little bit.
And the 88 still won't die.
Yeah, it still won't die.
Well, he has...
Strafing on the middle, ouch.
Ouch. I think a good counter, although I don't really know how feasible it is, a good counter to the 88, not to the 88, to strafing runs is when you get level 2 veterancy, which gives your guys, I believe, better armor. I'm kind of ill right now, so my mind is not in the right place, but it seems to me that once you get level 2 veterancy, for whatever reason, they just don't take the damage from the strafing runs that they used to.
Oh yeah,
without upgrades.
That might be true. That actually might be sort of the counter to strafing runs, so that your squads survive. Yeah. Interesting though. I think that the fact that Mexico put guys on that flak gun might hurt him, because he was at pop cap for a while. The last shot manages to take him out. Very nice. But he finally kills it, but I don't know if he wanted to. It takes up 11 pop cap, and if he just sort of ignored that area and just defended farther back or something, I don't know. But let's see if somebody's able to take any victory points, because we're still stuck here at 398 and 439. Fairly close, but... And still relying on the studs here. You think it might be time to upgrade to Panzer IVs and Panthers? I mean, he's got to have plenty of fuel.
I think he was expecting the game to play out completely differently, and that's why he chose defensive. Certainly a Tiger with level 2 veterancy, level 3 veterancy, or 2 Tigers to just push through with Blitz or something would have been an interesting choice to see how that develops. Or, get a sniper or two to just automatically pop one of those AT guns. But he can't really see what's going on like we can, so he didn't know there was 4 AT guns sitting there as far as I could see before that assault. But those Stugs are really doing a good job. I mean, despite all the ATs, I mean, they've managed to do a pretty decent job, I think. Just in general, the Stugs have really pulled through for him in this game.
And there's the AT airdropped behind the tank there. That was a pretty tough fight. But now we see the Allies breaking out on the right-hand side. They managed to capture a point, but the Axis break out on the left and capture a point. Well, not capture, but neutralize it here.
Right.
You might see a little bit more draining down for the Axis side if the Allies can capture this one in the top right here.
Yeah, I think Nuvion's he's just lost too much at this point. Really, after that flak assault didn't work the way he intended to be, I think he just couldn't come back from that.
Where's the Sherman?
Who knows?
Sherman's driving into his opponent's base.
Does Mexico have bombing runs right now?
He does have bombing runs, yeah, but he doesn't have any resources to use them. He's only got about 16 munitions. He used the last couple sticky bombs, I think, on that Stug on the right, unless he was only concentrating on Shreks, but I don't know why else he'd be so low.
Yep. And we do have LMG Grenadiers on the right, which is going to try to hold take back the VP. But
Pioneer sneaking around on the left, capturing VPs. He's going to try. Yeah, he's going to try and do it anyway. He lost all of his infantry squads except for that one Grenadier squad. Where did the rest go? I mean, I don't think I even saw that.
Yeah, that strafing run. The strafing runs finished him off.
And maybe that's where all the dang munitions went. All right, so we've got a Stug and a Grenadier squad versus a Croc, 2 Shermans, AT guns up the wazoo, machine guns. Oh, there's another Sherman up gun here.
And a Croc. Don't forget about that.
Oh no, I saw the Croc, definitely. Veterancy. And lots more riflemen to boot, so we'll see. I mean, maybe if he clusters them enough, one nice rocket barrage. Does he have rockets?
He does have that, which was kind of surprising why he decided to use all that register just to get rid of that flak. I mean, I don't know. Obviously,
well, did he have it back then, too?
He had it. That last register that he used on that point, he was, just about done with. He had a sliver away from 4 points, but I don't know. I think it gets annoying after a while when you're like, oh my god, you have 10% left, just die already, and you're willing to sacrifice at any cost. Yeah, that HQ is definitely
in trouble. We're seeing massive recalls. Oh my god, get the ATs over there! Get the Shermans! Get the Shermans! And he's just going to try and hurt it with the Stug. Stug doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, wow, it actually didn't do any right there. I mean, it's no Stu. Let's put it that way. Yeah, barely. Look at this. It basically takes, 12 or 14 shots with a Stug. How much with a Stu? I mean, a Stug, look at this, has a 4 against buildings. The Stu has a 5 and does about 7 times more damage. Maybe not quite that much, but I'm exaggerating here.
I don't know.
I don't think Nuvion realized he was being hit by the AT there. He was a little bit upset.
Just watching how this one winds down and looks like another Annihilation-style game on Bo Lowlands. And nice bombing run, dear God. And there goes the last hope, shall we say. Now all that's on the field for Nuvion is the sniper. Yeah. Well, they should let snipers pick up Shreks. That would be awesome.
He gets critical hits on Shermans. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
But yeah, look at all this 3 AT guns here.
I think losing that first AT gun was pretty critical in the beginning of the game, especially when Nuvion thought that it was an airborne AT gun that was shooting his stuff.
Yeah.
If you recall that when he first made that aggressive push. Despite early losses, I think he really rallied, and he did have a good chance at a couple points to turn this game around. But maybe his doctrine choice wasn't exactly the best, considering that Mexico was not being aggressive for a long time, and then here comes the base rush just to finish them off. It looks like, actually, this looks more like just a scouting rush.
And look how fast that AT goes down.
Yeah,
that's just
ouch.
I mean, I don't mind the croc being defensive, registered artillery rather, I believe, dropping on everything, including his own tanks. Unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, the croc's damage still, I think, is too much. Because, I mean, it just kills things too fast to even
I don't think
respond.
we've ever had anyone on the show that went defensive doctrine.
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah. It's not a very common choice, maybe for some reasons like this. And now we have the typical... What I like to do sometimes in team games is, just drop an AT gun in someone's base, drop supply drops, paras, have a couple friends do the same thing, and see how it all plays out. It can be fun.
I mean, we were talking about the STA yesterday, which is supposed to be powerful, or not yesterday, like 4 shows ago. And, people are like, man, the STA's not that powerful, what are you talking about? I mean, remember how fast it destroyed an HQ? This is an AT gun, a crocodile, which is supposed to be very powerful against buildings, and a Sherman all firing at an HQ at the same time. They're taking it down in about half the time as one STA. I mean, this is... That's powerful overpowered. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I know what you're saying. Someone tried to bring up an argument about modifiers and things like that, and then he then eventually posted that, but I don't know the modifiers for a Sherman, and it might actually be some kind of penalty, but I don't know, the BT guys could probably tell us. I don't really want to talk about the STA anymore.
Yeah, right.
Everyone has their own opinion on it. I think that was one of the most commented on. I think there was like 3 different threads going on. It was just absolutely insane.
Yeah, people didn't like us talking about the STA. I mean, I certainly love the STA being a lot better than it used to be. And they call us, Allied players and Axis haters and stuff like that. I like Axis a whole lot more than Allies, surprisingly. I don't know about you.
Axis is more of a challenge, I think.
Yeah. We got the officer here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Strafing run for the win!
Yeah, kill everything. I don't know. I still think strafing run's a little bit too powerful. I think lower the amount of damage that it does just in that small cluster of space. Like, reduce it just a little bit. Maybe 90% of what it is right now.
I think it was Omar who was telling me, but we had him on the show last week, I forget, but I think he's been experimenting with OPing like a high munitions point and going right side of airborne and trying to get off a good strafing run, a good early strafing run against an unsuspecting Axis player.
That could
really hurt. Really win you the game. I was playing around with that myself though in team games, but I have to see how that could play out.
So hang on, this go officer, one shot all those ATs with your pistol. Just put it right to their head, right there. They're right next to you. Put it to their head and kill them. Just put it to their head and kill. Oh, okay, you're in pieces now. No, he's still alive. No, he's not. He's gone. Okay. But yeah, I mean,
it's the Kevlar he's wearing.
Yeah.
Bridger.
When I'm using the strafing run and I wipe out an entire squad just instantaneously on command, I feel like I'm cheating, honestly. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's a propaganda that just kills your unit. Every once in a while, you'll actually be able to get out of the way, or it'll only damage some of the guys there, but because the Axis squads are so small, especially Grenadiers are very susceptible, but I've seen entire squads of Stormtroopers die too.
Yeah, I think that's playback over.
Yeah.
There used to be a bug where you could cloak your Stormtroopers, and then the strafing run would go right over them and didn't do anything.
Yeah, not anymore.
Also with the stud, it'll auto-acquire a destroyed HQ for some reason after. It's always been there. I've noticed that a long time ago. I don't know, I used to actually like you remember week 1, I actually built studs against Libidos, and I always liked them, but I noticed in team games pretty early on that they would auto-acquire destroyed HQs and keep on firing on them for some reason, but hopefully that little nasty bug will be fixed, not like it actually makes a difference anyways in gameplay. So, good match, interesting, a little campy, but hey, that's Bo Lowlands for you.
A little campy! Oh, wait, wrong kind. So, thank you guys for tuning in here. Don't forget to check out this week's audio show because it's going to be fantastic. We're discussing how to make yourself a better player, how to get a competitive mindset, the psychology of competition, and how it applies to Company of Heroes, and how you can get the right frame of mind to playing online. One of the examples that we could use is if you think that, for example, strafing runs are overpowered and they're so cheesy and I can't believe that just people use it. Well, play to win. Don't play to not lose, I guess would be. Or not do cheesy tactics. Because not everybody's going to play the same way as you. And that's the point. So, let us take off here from Tales of Heroes. This was number 28 here on Bo Lowlands, Nuvion versus Mexico. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll have another great one for you next week. Hopefully we'll get a Stursdor for another interesting team game. Both these players sort of rusty. A little bit of campy, but still quite interesting. Noted a lot of good strategies back and forth. With that, for Vittensby, I am Bridger, signing off. Don't forget, check out typefrag.com for your Ventrilo hosting and Insomnia 365 for all your dedicated game servers.
TSN, the Team Sportscast Network.
This broadcast is copyrighted 2006 by the Team Sportscast Network. Any copying, reproduction, redistribution, modification, rebroadcasting of any kind or any manner is expressly prohibited without the written permission of the Team Sportscast Network, LLC.